Hey everyone, YouTube just finally told me I'm connected, but I'm not sure if I actually believe it. So let me know again if you can hear me. I got the messages before I logged in that Mom Judy, Lindsay, and Cheryl are all here. I just want to make sure that the connection is actually working because it buffered for quite a long time and then I reloaded the page, so I'm hoping it'll actually work because reloading doesn't always work. Okay, hi Lindsay. And Cheryl, I know you're there too. I'm not sure who else was going to make it live. Who else was going to make it live again tonight? But we'll just wait a few minutes. Um, Hopefully, your card kits are all going to be in the correct order. I tried to pack them that way. The first one, the top of the pile, would be this light blue cardstock, which is called Glacier. That'll be the first card we work on. So when I was writing the instructions, I went ahead and I separated all my PML cards into the right piles. Yours are not going to be sorted that way, so you'll have to go through your package. I'll let you know which cards we're working on as we go along. But for this first card, you'll need the large one that says birthday wishes, and then the large one that has this row of candles. On the back of it, it has these green candles. So you could go ahead and dig for those while we just wait a few more minutes. And then you'll also need this strip of Lagoon glitter paper. And they don't sell the Lagoon glitter paper anymore. So if you wanted to make some more of these, you wanted a similar color, the Capri, which is a slightly lighter blue. That's the shimmer trim we used. It's a little more blue to it, but that would be the color you would use in its place. Hi, Kathy. And then for each of the cards, we're going to be using our colored dots as well. And those, you should have gotten a sheet of those in your kit. So just keep those handy. We're going to be using both glitter paper and the shimmer trim on these cards. And the glitter paper, the difference is the glitter paper does not have any adhesive on the back. The shimmer trim does have that tricky, shiny covering over the adhesive. So then you have to play games with trying to get that backing off to stick it down. Just turning on some other lights to try to balance the shadows. Not sure if that helps or not, but hopefully all the trouble connecting will be at the beginning there, and we'll have a smooth run through the class. If we do get disconnected, then keep an eye on the chat window as well as your email. I will email you a new link if necessary, but it'll take me a few minutes to set up a new stream and get that link to you. YouTube seems to be having problems lately, and I don't know how to solve the problem. So okay, let's go ahead and get started. Just going to put the these aside for now, so I have a little room to work. So like I said, the first card we're going to be using is the Glacier cardstock. All the cardstock pieces are the same size. They are 4x11, so the finished card size is 4x5.5. So if you need to score your cardstock, you can either fold it in half or score on the 5.5-inch side. Did I say 4x5.5? I hope so. And if you want, use a bone folder on that fold. They're all going to be the same. And I think I've mentioned this before. The reason they're 4 inches, whereas the standard card is 4.25. I'm using 12x12-inch cardstock, and so you can actually get 3 cards out of them if you trim them to 4 inches, as opposed to only 2 if you do the 4.25-inch size. So it lets you be a little more frugal on your cardstock, and in the end, nobody's going to notice the difference of that 1/4 inch. So we're going to need in your package of PML cards, you need the 4x6 one that says birthday wishes, and on the back it also says birthday wishes. It's just horizontal. And then this one with the orange candles across the top. There's green on the back. Sometimes you never know which way they are in the package, so which side you're going to see first. So we are going to need a paper cutter today to cut our pieces, but the cutting will hopefully you'll find pretty easy. I'll give you all the measurements. It's mostly today cutting and gluing. Excuse me. So I have all the measurements in your file that I sent you, but I'm just going to measure again because it's faster to measure than to find it quickly in my document. So on these birthday wishes card, you are going to cut the top. Sorry about that. I had some popcorn before and I think there's a kernel stuck. Okay, so you're going to set the top of your card, the top of the banner, at your 2-inch mark in your paper cutter and cut it at 2 inches. And you're going to leave the width. And then you're going to turn it around and you're going to use the presents and you're going to trim that at 1.5. And then the leftover piece you can use for scrap or you can discard it. I know a lot of times I tell you to keep it, and that's going to be the case on other cards, but that one we're not going to use again. And then on this card, the candles, we're going to trim right along the edge of the colored strip of the candles. So that's actually at 1 inch. It's a 1 inch wide strip. So those are our 3 strips. And I don't know if we're going to use those again, but if we don't, that is definitely a usable piece. So save that. So now we just have to adhere all our strips. So I'm going to start with the top strip. I've just got a hair caught in my, there it is. Hair caught in my adhesive there. So I am going to, I'm at the top of the card, the folded edge, and I'm going to put this strip about 1/8 of an inch down from the top. And your card should be 4 inches, the same width as the strip. My strip is just a hair longer, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that off. And then we're going to do the same thing with the bottom strip with the presents. And we're going to put that at the bottom of the card, again, about 1/8 of an inch from the bottom. And once again, my card is just a hair, my strip is a hair longer than my card, so I'm going to trim that off. Okay, so now we're going to do the candles. And we're going to put this below the birthday wishes banner strip, leaving 1/8 of an inch between the two strips. You guessed it, got to trim that one too. And now we're going to put the glitter paper, and this is glitter paper, so we do have to add adhesive to it. And you're going to add it just below the candles, which should leave you about 1/8 of an inch gap. Mine's just a touch wider, but so you should pretty much have the same size strip at the top between these two, and at the bottom. And then we can attach our dots, and you can just attach them because they do have adhesive on it. But I like to add a little glue as an extra security. I think these dots stay on a little better than the gems, I believe. But my cards, because they're samples and they kind of get a lot of handling, so I just like to have that extra security. So I'm just going to clean off my glue nozzle. And I'm going to just put a drop of glue, a tiny, tiny drop of glue in each spot that I want to put one of my dots. And so I use the biggest size of the green down here, the medium size of the, I believe it's Sundance, the orangey type color down there, and the smallest size of the yellow up top here, just below and to the right of that S. Now, this glue dries clear, so if a little bit comes out from behind the dot, it is going to dry clear, but you can try to wipe out the excess. I just use the tip of my X-Acto knife if you want to. And that's all there is to that card. Lift it up so you can see those dots a little better. And we're going to use a big, a medium, and a small dot on each card, I believe. All right. Try to leave that there so you can still see it while we move on to the next card. And the next one is going to be this green cardstock, which is actually called Green Apple. And the PML cards we're going to use, there's 2 of them, and they're both a small size. And this one that looks like colorful confetti, and on the other side, it's this yellow. And I think that's the side you see when you're flipping through the stack, because I kind of flipped through the stack a couple times before I found it. And then this one, which says the best kind of cake is more, 3 cupcakes. And it says the same thing on the other side. It's just wild berry is that color. Side, we're going to use the Sundance side. So I'll just give you a minute to find those, because I know sometimes finding the cards is the hardest part of the whole project, right? Okay, so hopefully you found those. And we've got also have 2 strips of that Lagoon glitter paper. And we're going to score and fold our, it's going to be one of those classes that I'm looking for this tool the whole time. We're going to score and fold our card at 5.5 inches. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is trim the cupcake card. And we're going to trim 3/8 of an inch off each side. So to do that, when we put it, it's 4 inches wide. So when we put it in our paper cutter, the first cut we're going to make, you're going to put the edge, the corner at 3 5/8 rather. That's the first smaller line past the 3.5. And then we're going to turn it around and trim it at 3 1/4. So it is now 3 1/4 inches wide, and we took 3/8 of an inch off each side. Put those aside in case we want them later. I didn't decorate the inside of all of these cards, but I did decorate the inside of a few of them. And I'll just show you a couple of ideas that I had. And then if you had other pieces like these, you could always use them to put a little strip of color on the inside. The inside doesn't have to be fancy. It just gives it a little something if you like to do that. So the first card we're actually going to put down is the confetti card. And we'll go ahead and put our adhesive on that. And we're going to attach it to the top left corner of the card. And we're going to leave about 1/4 of an inch, a little less than 1/4 of an inch, but about 1/4 of an inch border on the left side and on the top, so they're equal. To just give us that nice border of green. And then we are going to put down the cupcake card. And we are going to attach this 3/8 of an inch, about 3/4 of an inch from the bottom. Does not have to be exact, but I will go ahead and measure it since I gave you the measurement. And when I do this with when I'm actually measuring the space, I'll just put my ruler. I place the ruler, the 3/4 inch line along the bottom of the card, and then I can just butt my piece up against the ruler, and the right hand side is going to be along the right side of the card. And so that gives me that exact measurement. Like I said, it doesn't have to be exact, but if you want it to be. And then we're going to put one strip of the glitter paper below that card. So again, it's glitter paper, so we are going to add adhesive to it. And I'm actually going to cover just the bottom of the card. I want about that same 1/4 inch border of green down here that I have up here. So I'm just covering a little bit of this card with my glitter paper. My glitter paper is just a little longer than my card, so I'm going to trim that. And then on this piece of glitter paper, I'm only going to put adhesive about halfway. I may have given you a shorter piece. I honestly don't remember. But this one, again, I'm going to just, you can put it right up against the confetti card, or you can overlap the edge just a little bit. But I put the short edge of the glitter paper along the top of the orange card and then run it up either along the edge or overlapping just slightly. And then I can turn the card over and cut off the excess. And I do have a little extra adhesive on here, but you can save this paper if you want. Since there is some adhesive, I'm just going to stick it to the back of my dot paper because it'll come right back off. And that's that. And then we can add our dots. Okay, so the 3 dots are here on this card. So again, I'm just going to add my tiny drops of glue. You can do 1 drop of glue at a time and add a dot, whatever you feel more comfortable with. So we're going to use the large blue. And that one I have right over the middle of the seam between the 2 cards. And then the medium pink, which is actually the color is called Wildberry. That's our special color of the year. And while I'm thinking of it, there is a Wildberry promotion this month. There's a couple special paper packs, and all the Wildberry products are on sale. So if you like this color and you want to get some Wildberry supplies, you have till the end of the month to do that. Okay, and then we're going to do the small green. And the small one is usually the one that I have the glue coming out of the side for, because it's tiny and it doesn't need much glue. So that's that. Probably shouldn't have my X-Acto knife sticking out up like that. Okay, so that's that card. And the next one is Wildberry. That's what the card stock looks like. And we're going to need several cards for this one. We are going to use the small one that says the "Congrats, you're still alive" with a piece of cake. And it says the same thing on the back. It's just a slightly smaller piece of cake. And we've got this blue card. It says "Happy Birthday" at the top. On the back, it's Wildberry and has the "Happy Birthday" at the bottom. So actually, if you wanted to, you could use that banner instead. It's up to you. You have the green with the white diamonds. On the back, it's orange. And we've got this plaid, this colorful plaid. Whoops. And on the back, it's just orange, an orange grid, really. I guess it's plaid if it's different colors. It's grid if it's one. I don't know. So those are the 4 cards we're going to need, and I'll let you dig those out. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and score, and I didn't tell you on the last 2, but on all of the cards, I am scoring on the darker side of the cardstock. This one doesn't look, it's not a whole lot of difference. It is, you can't see it in the right light, but all our cardstock has a darker side and a slightly lighter side. So you have kind of shades to work with. But in this case, the true side is always the darker side. So I am using the darker side on all of these cards and scoring at 5.5 inches on all of them. Whoops, I guess I didn't score that quite straight. Or maybe I didn't cut it quite straight. That's better. And the other thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to dovetail my my glitter paper to make it look like a banner. If you've never heard that term before, I don't know why, but it's called a dovetail. And what I'm going to do is I'm not about 1/4 inch from the end and centered top to bottom. on the back of my glitter paper. See, I'm going to make that little dot. So I'm like 1/4 of an inch from the end and center top to bottom. Now you don't have to make this dot, but I wanted to give you a measurement. It gives you a visual point to cut to. And I'm going to start at, put it over a place where you can see it. I'm going to start at the corner and cut to the dot. And then I'm going to turn it and cut from the other corner and cut to the dot and remove that triangle. And now we have a piece that looks like a banner. Okay, so the first card we're going to attach, I know it's confusing. We've got the card and then we've got the card. So in all the directions, I've started calling these PMLCs, in case you were wondering, because I was tired of saying attach the card to the card. So don't ever work on your good paper. Add adhesive to the back of the plaid PMLC. And we're going to attach this to the front. This is the folded side here on your left. And we're going to attach the plaid piece about 1/4 of an inch from the fold, just to give us that pink border. And then we are going to attach the green piece. So you're putting adhesive on the orange side. We're going to attach that to the right hand side of the card, about 1/4 inch from the right edge and 1/4 inch from the bottom. So you have that equal border on the right side and on the bottom, and it's much wider here at the top. We're going to add adhesive to our glitter paper banner, and we're going to attach that to the inline, right, butted up against the fold on the left hand side of the card, about 1/4 of an inch up from the bottom of the green piece. So we've got about 1/4 of an inch here, about 1/4 of an inch there. Okay, so next we're going to cut out our other 2 cards. So let's go ahead and do this. The happy birthday message card first. And you're going to put it in your paper cutter at 1 1/4 inches. And when you do that, your whole happy birthday message should be above the cutting blade. 1 1/4 inches. And you're going to save, keep it the 3 inches wide. I'm going to put this card aside for now. And we can go ahead and attach that. And we're going to put it about 1/2 inch down from the top of the card and about 1/2 inch in from the edge of the plaid piece. So 1/2 inch here and 1/2 inch there. I need skinnier fingers. And so it overlaps the green. And now we're going to cut out this piece of cake. Just be careful when you cut it out because we are going to use the piece of cake that's on the back. You have plenty of room, but just don't, go crazy. So I'm going to leave about 1/8 of an inch border of white paper along the edge of the image. And I went along and cut around the top of it first because now I know that piece is safe. This is the back, and we're going to use it on our next card. So don't let it go too far. So I'm going to continue cutting around. An 1/8 of an inch, leaving an 1/8 of an inch. Mine might be a little wider than an 1/8 of an inch. Whatever looks good to you, or often it's whatever your first cut, the width you left. Try to keep it consistent throughout. I'm going to just take a little more off the bottom. There you go. And no, you don't have to save that. And then we're just going to attach this onto the green piece. So it's an odd shape, so you can be creative with your adhesive. I just like to make sure any piece that's poking out, and luckily that fork, what I had left was just wider than 1/4 of an inch, so my adhesive fit on there nicely. But if it overlaps, you can just kind of take your fingers and fold that adhesive over to the back so it's not sticking out. And then go ahead and put it, towards the bottom right corner, just so you're not overlapping your banner or your happy birthday banner. And then we're going to add dots. So you can see there in this corner, little cluster. These cards this paper collection is really colorful. It's really cute. Hope you are enjoying working with it. So, I just love this plaid. I really want big pieces of that plaid, but they didn't make any. So we're going to use the large yellow. Whoops. See, when you press down, press straight down and then lift your finger up, and don't push it like I did. When it doesn't have any glue, it sticks just straight down, but the glue makes it a little slippery of a surface, more slippery of a surface before it dries. So that's why it slid so easily. Okay, so we're going to use a medium orange. Just press down. When you futz with things, that's when you have problems. And we're going to use the small pink Wildberry. Okay. So that is that card. So next we have an orange, which is, oh boy, nectarine or tangerine. We used to have one and now we have the other, and now I'm blanking. Oh, sorry, it's neither. It's Sundance. Huh, I said that before. The orange is Sundance. Okay, so we are going to use that other small piece of cake from the card we just used on the previous card, and we need this large 4x6 card that's green background with the orange candles. The other side has the blue background with the pink candles. I tried to mix up the colors, so we had some cards of every color for this collection. I didn't want them all pink or all Sundance because I wanted you to have a selection. We're going to use the 3x4 card that it says Happy Birthday in the yellow, orange, and blue. On the back, it says Happy Birthday in blue, pink, and green. So those are the cards we're going to use. We're going to have 2 strips of, this is the Capri Shimmer Trim this time. I wanted to use the 2 different colors. And then I didn't, and then after I made them, I realized that we're out of the Lagoon. We don't have the Lagoon glitter paper anymore, but I think I made the Capri, either the glitter paper or the shimmer trim will look good if you wanted to replace those. Okay, so I'm going to cut out this piece of cake first. And again, I'm going to leave, this time I'm going to leave a slightly narrow, or this might actually be closer to 1/8 of an inch than the border I left on the other one. It was bigger. I'm going to cut a little closer, but still leave a white border around the image. I find that it looks better to leave that border than to cut up right against the image, because if you're not perfect when you're cutting up against the image, it's a lot more noticeable than if your border varies a bit in size. So there we go. The other piece we're going to need is the rest of that blue card that we used on the last card from the happy birthday message. We are going to use what's left of that blue as a background for this piece of cake. So we're going to go ahead and add adhesive to this. And in this case, see, that's why you're not supposed to do it on top of the good piece. I always tell you that, but I always do it. Okay, so on my fork here, I don't know if you can see it. I don't think you can see it, but I do have some adhesive along the edges of the fork. So I'm just rubbing my fingers along it, and that kind of folds the adhesive backwards, so it removes it from the edges and pushes it back to the back of the card. And we're just going to go ahead and stick that on the center of the blue card. And I mean, we could use this with we could do this with any piece of cardstock, but we had this leftover card, so why not use it? So now we're going to cut another border around the piece, and again, about 1/8 of an inch. And this blue is just going to help it stand out on the card a little more. I found that if I just used the piece with the white border, it didn't really stand out. So this blue gave it a little extra oomph. So that's all you got to do. Okay. So let me just check these measurements again. Yep. Okay. So what we're going to do is take this candle card and we're going to cut it in half. So we're going to put the 6-inch side in the paper cutter, but we're going to cut it at 3 inches. So we have a 3-inch piece. Now take one of the halves and put it aside because we are going to use this on another card. This piece we're going to cut in half again. So it's 3 inches wide now. So we're going to cut it at 1.5. So we have 2 strips that are 1.5 by 4. And I haven't done this yet, so we're going to score our cardstock at 5.5 inches. Go ahead and fold. And the fold is going to be at the top of the card. The first thing we're going to do is add adhesive to our 2 candle strips. And we're going to attach them each to the card. You can probably see it maybe a little better up there. And we're going to go ahead and attach it 1/4 inch. The first one, I'm going to attach 1/4 inch from the bottom edge of the card. That should be the same width of the card. And the other one, I'm going to turn it around so I can see it a little better. And we're going to attach that 1/4 inch, whoops, from the top, the folds. And they're a little wider than what we need, but just trying to make the cutting as simple as possible. So now we're going to attach our happy birthday card. If you wanted to make a whole nother set of these cards, you could use the opposite sides of everything and change up all the colors, and that would be fun too. Oops. Okay, so we are going to put this centered on the card. Right there. And the top and bottom edges will cover up the top and bottom edges of the candle strips. And then we're going to add our shimmer trim. Now, usually when I cut the shimmer trim, it's a little sneaky. So I cut it a little longer. It's a little hard to measure because it's slippery and wound around the roll. So I'm going to put it right along the bottom edge of that card. And you'll notice my piece is a little longer. Yours should be too. And you can just trim that. The hardest part of the shimmer trim is taking the backing off. I had a leader on that one, which is why it was so easy for me to take off. This one I do not, so sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you struggle. So again, take the backing off and attach it. You can overlap the border too, or the edge rather, if you want. It's up to you. And then again, I start on one end flush at the edge and then cut off the other, overlap from the other side. And then we're just going to attach our piece of cake, but I'm going to do that with foam tape so it stands out a little more. So I'm going to cut a really skinny piece, or not a really skinny piece, but a fairly skinny piece to put on that fork, the back of the fork rather. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and take off that backing, and I'm going to do that over my garbage can. So that's why you can't see me right now. Okay, and then I'm going to attach to the top of the card. I am putting it so the fork is between the D and the Y. And then we're going to add our dots. So we've got orange and yellow up here and green down here. So, add my glue. Which is starting to dry because I didn't put the top back on. I know better, but didn't want to take the top on and off after each card, but I guess I'm going to have to. Some shortcuts are good and some just don't work at all. That was way too much glue there. Okay, so we've got the large orange dot. And the glue gushing out because I put too much. Gonna put another dot for the yellow because I wiped it away. Now that dot is too, see, you clear the nozzle and too much glue flows out. Okay, so this is the medium yellow. This is why they put adhesive on it, so you don't have to deal with this, right? But I got to make it more difficult. And then we're going to do the small green one down here by the Y. And there we go. Okay. The next card is also the Sundance Orange. And we're going to use the big piece of cake. So, so we've got this 4x6 card. With the cake. Oh, and on the back, it's another piece of cake, but blue. And if you prefer, you could use that side as well. Although your cutting would be slightly different. And then we're also going to use this card with the 4 cakes, and it says and many more. And we're going to use this card on a whole bunch of cards. We're going to cut out each of these cakes in the saying here. On the back, it's yellow with 3 cakes. Somebody made some fancy cakes. Lindsay is asking about the Stamp of the Month sets ever available outside of that month. Sometimes they are. But if they are full price. I can look for you and see if it's still available. If they have some left over, they can get it. I can also ask if anybody on my team happens to have an extra one that they are willing to part with at the discounted price. So I will let you know. But usually the best deal, of course, is to get it that month. So I am scoring at 5.5. And the fold is going to be on the left-hand side. And the first thing we'll do is cut the cake. And this one, I do have to consult my notes. Okay. So to cut this one, we are going to cut, you're going to cut 1.25 inches off of the bottom. So that means you're going to put your card into your paper cutter, 6-inch slide at the top, and you're going to put it at 4 3/4 because it's 6 inches minus 1.25 inches is 4 3/4 inches. And then we're going to turn around, and we want it to be the same height as the card, which of course is 4 inches. So we're going to go ahead and put the bottom at the 4-inch mark. So now our card is actually a square. It's 4x4. You're welcome, Lindsay. While we've got our paper cutter out, we might as well cut out our and many more sentiment. So what I'm going to do is, here, let me actually measure it for you. We're going to actually put it at the same point. We're going to put the card in at 4 3/4 inches. The top of the card is at 4 3/4. We're going to cut off that excess. And then we're going to put it at 4 1/4. So the top, we're just going to move the top down a 1/2 inch because we want this strip to be a 1/2 inch wide, and we're going to cut at 4 1/4. And so that gives us our 1/4 inch strip. And like I said, save this card for later. We're going to use it a lot. Okay, so now I'm going to cut. I'm going to put the top of it in at 3 3/8. And so you've only got a small amount of green left next past that exclamation point. And then you're going to turn it around and put it back in the paper cutter. And you're going to put the, the side next to the exclamation point at the 3 inch mark. So when you are done here, your strip is 3 inches by a 1/2 inch. That you can throw or recycle those pieces. So, and then we're going to dovetail the edge again, and this time I'm going to make my pencil mark on the front because I want to see where I'm making it in comparison to the printing. And you don't actually have to cut this side. You could cut it off when you dovetail it. I just thought it would be easier to see where your corners are. So we're just making a small little mark, and my pencil mark is still there, but because it's pencil, I can just erase it. Whoops. Can't pick that up. Okay, so now we have a banner. Okay, and then we are going to remember this card with the green background and the orange candles. We want a piece of that again. So this time we're going to put the top in at 1 1/4 inches. And we're going to save the 1 3/4 inch piece we cut off. Put that aside for now. And we're going to use that 1 1/4 inch. Okay, so now here's the tricky part. So this isn't long enough for this card, right? But I've got this. Well, we're going to cut it in half. Doesn't have to be exactly in half, but it's easier for me to tell you to cut it in half. So we've got 2 inch wide by 1 1/4 inch tall pieces. And we're going to attach those to our card first. All right, so let me see here. It's about an inch. Yep. Okay, so we're going to attach these 1 inch from the bottom of the card. My ruler is 1 inch wide, so I can just line up my ruler with the, oh, sorry, you can't see that. I can line up my ruler with the bottom of the card, and I know I have 1 inch there. And I'm going to put one piece of that, 1/2 of that strip along the left side of the card. And I'm going to put the other half along the right edge of the card, and I have that space in the middle, but the piece of cake is going to cover that up, so nobody will ever know. So that's how you can get around having a piece of paper that's too small. So now we're going to attach this piece. We're going to put it so it's about a 1/2 inch or so, really more like 5/8, but do what makes you happy. And it should be the same height as your card. Mine, again, is just a sliver. Every paper cutter, I've mentioned this before, every ruler and every paper cutter is slightly different. They're not always calibrated to each other. So even though you measure one 4-inch and the other one 4-inch, if you're using different equipment, it's not always the same. So I'm going to just trim the top and the bottom so it's the same height as the card. And as you can see, we didn't, like I said, we didn't need this side to be as big as this side, but it doesn't matter because most of it's covered up. We just needed this side to be big enough to cover that whole space. And then we're going to put on our banner. Now you could put this banner on with foam tape too. And I'm just going to put it flat. And I'm going to put it just between that space, that orange space underneath your candle strip. I'm just going to put it between those. So I have a little bit of orange at the top and at the bottom. And then I'm going to add my dots. See if I could do a better job with the glue on these. Those are little. The second and third one are little, super tiny. So we've got a big green dot. And I switched it up. We've got a little blue dot. I guess I decided to just make it a little interesting. So we've got a little blue dot there and a little yellow one. So there you go. That's that one. And I think we are halfway done now. So is everybody doing okay? Any questions? All right. Gonna make some room here. Okay, so our next card is the blue cardstock, which that color is Glacier, by the way. Keep the pattern going. Put in the one we're working on to the right all the time. And we are going to put something on the inside of this one. And some of my pieces tried to run away, so you should have your Glacier cardstock, a piece of Wildberry cardstock, a square, 2 pieces of Lagoon glitter paper, and then the PML card, the main one we're going to use for this one is this orange one that says a little party never hurt nobody. On the back, it says the same thing, but it's green and yellow. And then we're also going to need our card with the cakes on it from the bag. Last piece. The last card we did. Okay, and we are going to score it 5.5. And fold. And we are going to have to trim. Now, I don't know why this isn't printed in the middle of the card. But we are going to make this 3 3/4 inches tall. So we are going to put it in our paper cutter. And we're going to put it so the top of the card is to our left. And we're going to cut at 4.5 inches. So we are cutting 1.5 inches off the bottom. We are going to use these pieces, so don't throw them away yet. So that now it's 4.5 inches tall. We're going to turn it around. We're going to put the bottom of the card at 3 3/4 inches. 3 3/4. We're cutting 3/4 of an inch off the top. And this is the piece we're going to use on the inside of the card. So, no, it's not. Sorry. It's the other one we're using. We're going to use both of them, so save both of them. Oh, and I believe we're actually cutting. Are we? Yeah, I might have missed this on the instructions, so I'm going to have to revise the instructions and resend them to you. And just check and confirm that what I'm seeing is true. Okay, you are going to cut. Hold on. My mind just went blank. So, yeah, we're going to cut 1/4 inch off of the right side of the card. So we're going to put it in, it's 4 inches wide. Going to cut 1/4 inch off. So we're going to put that at 3, the top of the card at 3 3/4 inches. Just cut that little strip off. And now we're good. Sorry about that. I'm not sure how I missed that. All right, so, and then we're also going to retrieve the last piece of this card, the green, but we're going to use that side for the first time. The blue background with the pink candles. Hey, Judy, hope you can figure out how to put your insert into your tape or your refill into your tape gun. I know it's your first time. Okay, so we're going to add adhesive. To our party card. And this, we're instead of being the same height as the card, it's 1/4 inch smaller. So you're going to attach it to the right side of the card. The fold is on the left. I'm going to attach it to the right side of the card with an 1/8 inch border along the top, the right, and the bottom. Good for you, Kathy. I don't have to refill. I'm trying to see if I can. The side with the full side goes on the left. First you pull off all your excess from the right. Your full side, your full roll of tape goes on the left, so that it is unwinding from the right side of the roll, and the end goes over the first roller. That's better. It goes over the first roller, under the second roller, back around the top of the full roll, and then onto this spindle on the right, goes around clockwise. And there's a little, see, there's a break in here. There's a little tab so the end of it can go under and around so it hangs on. And if you get it on and you need more of a lead to go around, you'll have to press your trigger to get more, because it locks into place when the trigger isn't pressed. And then this piece goes back on that spindle, and see, you got to get it in the right spot where it fits down, and then you turn it a little bit to lock it, but it does operate without that piece. That should be somebody should make a YouTube video. Maybe I'll look and see if there's one out there. If there's one out there, I'll make one to put out there. I'm sure there is, though. Okay, so the next piece we're going to put on is the candles. You said it was going to run out during this class, so I guess you were right. And this piece is going to go along the left side of the card, right along the fold. And this one is 4 inches, so it is the same height as the card. So no borders on that piece. And then you're going to take one of your pieces of Lagoon glitter paper, and you're going to put it right over, centered over that seam between the two cards, or close to. Just cover up the seam. Okay, so now we are going to cut our cakes out. So the first thing I'm going to do, excuse me, is place the top of the card in my paper cutter, and I'm going to cut it in half. So I'm going to cut it at 2 inches. And we're going to put these aside for now, and we're going to work with this side. And we're going to use this cake. So we're going to put the top of the card, and I'm using the top of the card because that is the printed, that's how it came. We cut the bottom of it, and I want it to be I want you to have the right measurement. So we're going to put the top of the card at 2 1/4 inches. Maybe just below 2 1/4 inches. Yeah, 2 1/4 is good. And so this cake we're going to use later, but we're going to... Oh, I have no idea. I don't know what teeth are. I don't know what that means. But Lindsay says she has a good YouTube video. So she's going to send that to me, the link to me, and I'll send it on to you, Judy. Okay, so this piece we're not going to use. And this is the cake we're going to use. So we want it to be 1 3/4 inches tall. So we're going to put the bottom of the cake at 1 3/4 and cut off the top. And if you were just doing this yourself, the measurements wouldn't be critical, but I want you to have the right size to fit on your piece of pink cardstock, and that's why I'm being precise with you. Okay, so, and it's going to be 1 5/8 inches wide. So you're going to put the top of it at your 1 5/8 inch mark, which also happens to be somewhat centered, which is how I got the measurement in the first place. And now you have your little cake. Oh, great, Lindsay. Yeah. She sent it to the class email, so everybody should have gotten a copy of it. That's awesome. And that should fit perfectly on your piece of pink cardstock with a 1/8 inch border. So let me tell you that again, because I know we were interrupting there. Your piece of paper with the cake on it should be 1 3/4 inches tall. Excuse me. And 1 5/8 inch wide. So it's just slightly narrower than it is tall. And we're going to attach that to our pink cardstock. Oh, I think I finally figured out what Mom meant by teeth. And sometimes this isn't a problem, and sometimes it is. This, see these cutouts, these holes in the white plastic piece that's the center of the roll. There are bumps on this black plastic roll, and you have to get the bumps inside the holes. So sometimes when you put it on, it won't go all the way down, and you'll struggle. Why isn't it going down? And that's why. It's because you just have to rotate a little bit. And then other times it just goes down and you don't even notice they're there. Okay, and then we're going to put foam tape on the back of our piece of cake. Now I really want cake. How about you guys? I want a little piece in the center too. Okay, and I'm going to take off the backing over my garbage. And then I'm going to put this on the left side of the card at just a little bit of an angle. And our dots. Oh, see, now this one has 2 mediums and no smalls, so I don't know if I screwed that up or I did it on purpose. Never know, because I made the samples a while ago. I don't remember. But we've got a large pink. A little too much glue there. A medium blue. And, oh, the yellow one I put a little farther down. Whoops. So this is what happens when you try to clean up your glue. You make more of a mess. You say, I should have left good enough alone. It's okay. Like I said, this glue dries clear. All right, let's put a new dot for that yellow. And this is going to be a medium yellow as well. My knife slid on that one too. So there we go. And now on this one, I did put something in the inside. So we're going to get that piece of orange that I cut off, the wider one. But apparently I only used an inch of it. And I don't know if that's important or not. But yeah. So I cut a half an inch off. I made it an inch. It's probably not important, but I made it an inch wide. Still 4 inches tall. And I'm going to go ahead and put that against the edge, the right edge of the inside. And then I'm going to put my other strip of glitter paper. And so see, it's nothing all that fancy on the inside, but it just adds a little bit. And I didn't stamp happy birthday on any of these cards because I figured you all had a happy birthday stamp or some kind of stamp for you wanted to use for the celebration. So, and then I just put my glitter paper right next to the edge of the orange paper. But then what I would do is I would center the stamp, the happy birthday stamp or whatever, between the fold and the edge of the glitter paper. But you can do whatever you want. All right, and I'm going to move all these down again to make room for one more. So the next one is the ice cream card because the cake is not complete without ice cream. So we've got the wild berry card stock. Sorry. We've got a rectangle of glacier blue cardstock, our strip of wild berry glitter paper, and the 2 cards we're going to use is the big one that has, it looks like it's colored sprinkles, rainbow sprinkles on it. The back of it just has blue sprinkles. And the card that's the small one that says, I'm so happy you were born. And it says the same thing on the back, but it's on a blue background with 2 ice cream cones. So the piece we have to cut on this one is this card. So I'm so happy you were born card. And we're just going to trim it a little. We want it to be 2 3/4 inches wide. So you're going to put the top of the card at the top of your paper cutter, the left edge at 2 3/4 inches, and you're just cutting off 1/4 inch off the right side. How does it keep disappearing? There it is. Score at 5.5 inches. Guess I'm putting the tools in it just in spots, just enough to move everything around. And then fold. This one, the fold is at the top of the card. Oh, sorry. We are actually going to cut our sprinkles card too. And we are going to cut it at 5 1/4 inches. And for me, 5 1/4 is right at the edge of this sticker. So you're cutting 3/4 inch off the sprinkles, and then you're going to turn it, and you're going to cut it at 3 3/4, because this one we are going to, as you can see, we're just going to center it on our card and have that pink border all the way around the card. So it's going to be an equal 1/8 inch border all the way around, because this card is 1/4 inch narrower and shorter than the size of the card. So that's it. Okay. And then we're going to use our glacier. We're going to use the darker side. So we're going to put our adhesive on the lighter side. And we're going to put that at a bit of an angle. So trying to figure out where to tell you. So you've got about 1/4 inch from the top here, from the top of the sprinkles cards to the top of the blue. And you've got about 1/4 inch from the left side of the sprinkles to the left top corner of the blue. And I have a quarter that's just a corner of this blue cardstock that's just sticking over the edge of the card. So I'm just going to trim that off. Now, the way you angle it, you may not have a corner sticking off. You may have a bigger one than I do. It doesn't really matter exactly the angle you put it on. You just want an angle so that when you put your ice cream card down, you just have that background sticking out from behind it. So put adhesive on that. And this measurement I can certainly give you. You're going to put this 3/4 inch from the top. Or so. And you may want to adjust that based on how you put your, see now, not as much blue is sticking out. So I'm going to just adjust mine and bring mine down a little lower. There you go. So I have some blue at the top and on the side. And then I'm going to put my adhesive on my, again, this is glitter paper, wild berry glitter paper. And I'm just going to attach this over the seam of the ice cream card. I didn't get that quite straight. The nice thing about the ATG tape is that it cures really strongly, but if you pull it up right away, you can get it back up most of the time on most surfaces. So I just want about 1/4 of an inch at least below, and I want it just below the ice cream cone. But the most important thing is just to cover up the seam of that card. And I am going to put my dots on. And I've got a large orange, a small pink, and a medium blue. And then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take off that, I'm going to take the strip of the sprinkles, the card from the front, the wider 3/8 inch, 3/4. I don't know why I'm having such a problem with that today. 3/4 inch wide strip, and I'm going to put that on the inside of the card. So I'm just going to add a little adhesive to that. Such cute paper. Why not use that piece we cut off? And I'm just going to put it here on the right side of the card. I'm going to center it top to bottom and leave 1/8 of an inch to the right. So just a skinny border, center top to bottom. It's just an extra little pop of color on the inside. Whoops, inside of the card. Sorry about that. I didn't give you a good look at those dots, I don't think. All right, so hopefully you guys are going strong. I know got a bunch of cards here, but we're getting there. 3 more to go. We can do it. Okay, so here's another piece of that plaid. See, I love that plaid. Whoops, got a bunch of pieces here. So we've got our glacier cardstock, some wild berry glitter paper, a little wild berry square rectangle, a green rectangle, and then the cards are the large plaid. On the back, it's the same plaid. Oh, actually, it's a larger plaid on one side, it's a smaller plaid on the other. I did use the smaller one. And then this card that says, I lost count of all the candles. And it says the same thing on the back. It's just on a pink background. And we're going to use the strip we cut off on the inside again. And we also need those cakes again. So this is the piece we're going to use with the ones that have the 2 pieces left connected. We're going to cut that apart. So the first thing we'll do is fold our card. Hopefully it's getting easier now to find your cards in your pack since we've used most of them. And there were a couple left over that I didn't use, so you can make you can do other things with those if you choose. All right, so this one, the fold's at the top. We are going to cut our plaid card the same size as the previous card. So that means we're going to put the 6-inch side along the top of your paper cutter, and we're going to cut it at 5 1/4 inches. So we have a 3/4 inch strip to use on the inside. And then this is the right size. That's the right size. This stuff. Okay, so then we need our cake, and we're going to use this top cake, the pink and blue one. Oops. Oh, sorry. I didn't finish cutting this. We're going to cut a 1/4 inch off the side. So we're going to put the 4-inch side, but we're going to put it at 3 3/4 inches. Cut that off. We have that little tiny strip. And then we have a card, and that should fit perfectly centered on our glacier card. So now we can cut our cake. Okay, so we are going to put our this one is a little tricky. We are putting the top of this card, so the top here, into our paper cutter at 2 7/16. So the 16th line, if you are not a ruler expert, is one tiny line. So this is the 1/8, the 1/4, 3/8, half, 2 1/2. If you look down here, these are the 16th lines. So a 16th is one tiny line narrower than the 2 1/2 inch line. If you do not have that line, you only have the 1/2 inch and the 3/8, just put your card halfway between those and it'll be close enough. So this is approximately 2 7/16. So slightly shorter than 2 1/2 inches tall. And then we're going to turn it around, put the bottom at 1 7/8. So slightly shorter than 2 inches. And you're probably saying, why couldn't I just make it easier for you? This one, you're just going to put the cake in upside down and put that left edge at 1 5/8. And just make that one more cut. And then your cake should be centered in your rectangle. I know, I'm sorry, I'm obsessive about the centering. So hopefully that wasn't too painful for you. All right, so that, and you can test it. And if it doesn't fit perfectly, you can always trim it. It doesn't fit perfectly on your pink rectangle. Hopefully it does. Or perfectly enough to make you happy anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and attach that on. And if you notice, my top and bottom borders are slightly wider than my left and right ones. I can trim it, but I'm going to leave it. Okay, and now we're going to attach our plaid. And like I said, I used the smaller plaid to get even more colored lines showing. I'm going to put adhesive on the back of that and center it right on our Glacier card. So you have a 1/8 inch border all the way around. We're going to put our I lost count card on our green cardstock. I'm going to make sure that I'm going to attach it to the darker side. And this card should also be centered on the green cardstock, so you have a 1/8 inch border all the way around all four sides. I'm going to add adhesive to the back of that. And we're going to attach this to the front of the card. We are going to have an equal border along the two sides and the top. So it's going to be closer to the top than it is to the bottom. So see, you have about 1/4 inch on either side, left and right, as well as on the top. So you have a slightly bigger space at the bottom. And that's to give us room for our piece of, or it's not a piece of cake, it's a whole cake, 2-layer cake. I'm going to put adhesive on the back of our Wildberry cardstock, glitter paper rather. And I'm going to put this about 1/4 inch below the writing that says I lost count. And we're going to attach the cake piece flat. So I'll just put regular adhesive on that. And we're going to put it in the bottom left corner on an angle. I just want to make sure it doesn't cover up any of the words. So just a slight angle. It'll cover up some of that glitter paper, but not the words. And then this piece of 3/4 inch wide plaid paper that's left over, we're going to put on the inside. And we're going to, again, this measurement isn't critical, but I tried to put it in a spot where I can put a one-line happy birthday or another message, have room above it, and still, have room to sign it. So this is another way to measure if your ruler isn't wide enough. If you work on a gridded board like I do, and I put it about 1 7/8 inches from the bottom. So see, there's 2 inches, and I'm just putting it just below that line. So that's a handy way to line up your pieces too. And as with all my other ones, my strip is slightly wider than my card. So I'm just trimming that off. All right, and now we can put our dots on. I'm thinking back to when I put the cards, those dots, I had the 2 small ones on one and 2 mediums on the other one. I'm guessing when I was putting the dots on the cards, it was because of the colors and the sizes of the colors I had left that I did that. Just remembered why that was probably the reason why I probably did that. So we've got a large yellow dot there, a medium green, and a small blue. You can tell we don't have many cards left because we don't have many dots left either. Down, blue down by the sentiment. Just getting that extra glue off. And there we go. Yeah, the small cakes are really cute. I mean, it would have been a fun to make a card, with just using that whole card. But then I was like, but if I cut them up, I can make four different cards with them, Okay. Shift everything down again. Next, we have balloons. Okay, so this is the card. We've got green cardstock. We've got our PML card with the balloons on it. Has these balloons on the other side. We've got another piece of wild berry cardstock, which means we're going to put another cake on it. This is Clover shimmer trim. So this has the adhesive on it. And then we're going to use this cake, this crazy looking cake, which is probably, I imagine, lemon, right? Lemon with cherries on top. Or whatever your favorite flavor is. I guess you can imagine whatever flavor you want. Okay, my cardstock is scored here. 5.5 inches. Fold it. I made a slight error in the scoring when I cut this card, so needs a little extra help there. Okay, let me just consult my notes here. Okay. These ones where I have to cut a different amount from the top and the bottom. All right, so we are going to cut this card with the balloons. Sorry. We're going to cut a 1/2 inch off the top. So that means you're going to put the 6-inch side at your paper cutter at 5.5 inches. And I had to make a mark myself on this one because it doesn't go over 5.5 inches. So a 1/2 inch off the top, 5.5 inches. Turn it around and put the top now at 5.25 inches. And cut a 1/4 inch off the bottom. And this is another one I'm going to have to add something to your instructions because I didn't mention that you're going to cut 1/8 of an inch off of each side to keep it centered. So, yep. So we're going to put the top of it in at 3 7/8 because we just want that little border around. So we need to make it slightly narrower. Turn it around, take another 1/8 inch off, which means that side will get put at 3 3/4 inches. And the card is now 3 3/4 inches wide. And then we have to cut our cake. Okay, so we want, let me see. Oh, so it should be 1.5 inches wide. So you're going to put the cake into your paper cutter upside down, bottom at the top, the bottom of the cake at the top, and trim it at 1.5. And then you're going to it should be pretty close, but you're going to just put it in sideways. So you're trimming the top of it. So it's 1 3/4 inches tall. You could see if it works on your paper before trimming it too. Okay, so we are going to put adhesive on the back of our balloons card. Whoops. And center that on our card. So we've got an 1/8 inch border of green all the way around. Going to take our shimmer trim and peel the backing off. Easier said than done sometimes. And we're going to put it, whoops, across the bottom, about 1/4 inch above the bottom of the yellow card. Just so you don't cover up the bottom of that orange balloon. And it should be a little longer than your card. So I just trim off the excess. We're going to attach the cake to the Wildberry cardstock. And then we're going to attach it to the card. Again, just using flat adhesive. You could use foam tape if you prefer. And we're going to put this also at an angle. On the inside, this is going to be from the card we use on the next card. So we're going to skip that for now, but we can put on this orange paper. And this came off of that card, A Little Party Never Hurt Nobody. This is the 3/4 inch wide piece. So we can put that on the inside of the card along the right edge of the card, centered top to bottom. And then after we cut this card, we'll go back and we'll put that square back on. In the meantime, we can go ahead and put our dots on here. We've got a large blue one on the left, medium pink at the top, and a small orange in the middle on the right. So large blue, a medium pink, and a small orange. And I guess you can guess which dots go on the last one. All right. Move these down. One last card. So everybody after this should be pretty well stocked on birthday cards for a while. Okay. So this is a white white card. Very last one. We went with white. And we've got this card, which has all the birthday cakes on it, and it does sideways too on the back. We're going to use the vertical orientation now. We've got this one that says birthday memories at the bottom. On the back, it also says birthday memories, but we're going to use this version. And then we have two pieces of Wildberry cardstock and a piece of Clover shimmer trim. And then we're going to use our last cake. And we're also going to use this skinny 1/4 inch strip of plaid because it's too cute of a paper not to use, right? Okay, so, sorry, I'm just doing my measurements here. Okay, so, whoops. Let's go ahead and score our card first. It takes up so much more room before it's folded, right? 5.5 inches. I also have more room to work if I put my tools away in between. Okay. So, cutting. We are going to cut this card at 1 3/4 inches from the bottom. So we're going to put the side that says birthday memories on the left, put it at 1 3/4, and go ahead and cut that. Then we're going to cut this card and put the top in and cut that at 4 inches. So now it's a 4x4 square. We are going to take the piece that we cut off. This is 2 inches tall, so we are going to make 2 squares. So we're going to put it the 4-inch side at 2 inches, cut it in half, and we have 2 2-inch squares. We're going to use one on the inside of this card, and we're going to put the other one on the card we just finished. And then we've got our cake. Just confirm these. 1 5/8. So it should be, yep, it should be about 2 inches tall, maybe slightly taller than 2 inches, and you're good. So you shouldn't have to cut that, the height of it. If you put the left side in, the cake facing, facing up, put that at 1 5/8, trim that off, and there you go. I think that's everything. Okay, so we're going to, sorry, I lost my slipper. Lost my slipper. Okay. We are going to attach this card first, the birthday memories. And we are going to line that up right with the bottom edge of the card. We are going to then put our Clover Shimmer Trim right over, right in line with the yellow, the yellow strip. Sorry guys, my throat's getting really dry from all the talking. Right at the edge of the yellow strip, above the birthday memories, that's where we're going to line up our strip of Clover Shimmer Trim and trim off any excess. We're then going to attach all of our cakes Who wouldn't want to get a birthday card covered in cakes? And we're going to align that up with the top of the card. And it should be the same with the card, but you can look. And for once, my cards are actually the right width. Actually, this blue one seems to be actually a bit short, but that's okay. And then we're going to put our strip of plaid. Now, my piece is exactly a 1/4 inch wide. My adhesive is exactly a 1/4 inch wide. You can go ahead and try to put that on perfectly. You could put a bit of glue stick, glue pen, or liquid glue on there. But I just used a strip of 1/8 inch wide tape. Use whatever works for you. And I'm going to put it right below the cake card. And it is going to be wider than your card. I just centered it. You can start on one edge to the other. But my adhesive didn't go all the way to the edge. That's why I centered it. And trim off the two ends. So now it's the right width. And we're going to attach our cake onto our wild berry cardstock, the smaller piece. center it on there. And then again, if you want to use foam tape, you can. And I'm going to angle this. I'm going to put the bottom left corner onto the Clover shimmer trim and just put it at a nice angle. Now on the inside, we're going to put this larger strip of Wildberry cardstock. I use the, I'm not sure why, but I did use the lighter side of the cardstock for this. I might have felt that it was be easier to write on or stamp on. It's not, like I said, it's not a huge difference. So I'm going to put that just across the center of the card. And then I'm going to take one of my squares of cakes and I'm going to put that on the right side, right along the right edge and centered top to bottom. So I'll have about 1/8 of an inch of pink above and below. And this would be perfect if you had a small sentiment right there, or you can write a small message. And then we have to put our dots on. And I've got them down here. You don't see a whole lot of that strip of plaid, but all right, so I'm going to do the large pink, the medium green, and the small orange. And there we go. Now we can go ahead and put this other piece of cake on the inside of the card with the balloons. And you're going to center it top to bottom and leave an 1/8 inch border of the orange on the right. So that's it. How'd everybody do? You also have all these huge strips left, but the candles and some of the other colors, you can just add some of those strips onto the insides of your cards if you like decorating those. Or not. It's up to you. I always save all my strips to the end just to make sure. So So we've got a couple of extra cards here. You'd have to use a bigger card to use that Celebrate, which is why I didn't use it. I just didn't want, they all work so well, the same size card. I just figured I would stick with that this time, but certainly can use what's left. I'm gonna put mine in my baggie here so I have them if I want to use them. Can you still purchase the card set? Yes, the card set is still available through next week or while supplies last. The current catalog is March, April. So that everything. Sorry, now I'm hesitant because I want to make sure I've got the right info that I'm giving you. Yeah, it's March, April. So I was just looking at the next one. So we're always working ahead. So so this is still available through next week or while supplies last. So you can order some more cards if you need to. And I will check on that stamp of the month for you, Lindsay. Also, my next class is May 10th. It's the Butterfly Blooms class. So let me know by tomorrow if you're interested in taking this one, because I do have to order the supplies on Thursday to make sure that we get them in time. We'll be using a shimmer brush. I don't know. Yeah, you should be able to see that shimmer on the butterfly. So you'll be getting a shimmer brush in that card and this card kit to color in your butterflies, and then you'll see on some of the squares I just added some shimmer. So if you're interested, that's May 10th. I'm working on other samples. I don't have anything set. I know May and June are busy months for people, so I'm not going to schedule a ton of stuff. If you have any requests for any other themes or any other projects, let me know. I'm considering doing an album, a small mini album. I don't know how many people are interested in that. And I'm also considering doing a decor piece, a crafting themed decor piece. So, but if you have any other ideas, the birthday cards were a request. They're always good. So it was perfect that this kit came out. But if there's any other occasions that you're really looking to have some cards from, let me know. And like I said, I am putting in an order in Thursday for the supplies for this class. So if there's anything else you want ordered, just let me know. It'll probably be my last order from this March, April catalog. But of course, you could also put in an order yourself from my website. And don't forget, if you're interested, if you like that Wildberry color, it's not, I don't think it's in this catalog because it's only a month. But if you're interested in, if you like that color, go ahead and take a look at it on the website. I'm kind of torn as to whether I'm going to do a class with it because I didn't get it in time to do it this month, and I didn't know if I wanted to do it when it wasn't available anymore. But if you really love it and you really think you want me to do a class, let me know because I can get those I can order that on Thursday if I need to. So thank you very much. I hope I didn't wear you out too much. And stay dry in this lovely weather we're having. And I will see you soon. Thanks. Good night.